to the first ever Life Positive Forum, the forum for innovation in perspectives. In this forum, we are going to take on a rather heavy subject, that of natural disasters. Before we begin the presentation, I've prepared a tribute to the Japanese people in admiration of their endurance or their perseverance in their most recent time of trial. My heart and prayers go out to the Japanese people who have to endure the devastating impact of the most recent tsunami. Reading the stories and watching the videos of recovery that have been pouring through the internet has replaced my feelings of sympathy for the Japanese people for one of deep admiration. No doubt this is a nation that is no stranger to disasters of all kinds, that of man and nature alike. Indeed, their resilience, response, discipline and care in handling the unprecedented effect of this terrifying tsunami, even by Japanese standards it seems, has left me with feelings of inspiring awe for a nation of disciplined and industrious people. I can only hope that our nations can execute such excellence and fortitude in such a calamity. We owe a debt of gratitude to the Japanese for their example. The topic of today's forum is the rejuvenating power of nature. Obviously, natural disasters like the tsunami in Japan are destructive forces. Of course, after a natural disaster, everyone and even nature has to pick up the pieces from the start, and it is rejuvenating. However, this is sad rejuvenation. It's not a glorious rejuvenation. People are coming out of a sad moment and picking up the pieces of their lives and moving ahead. So I've been pondering on natural disasters and trying to eke out the silver lining behind all these events. To do this, I chose two common questions that we have when natural disasters occur. I call these the two quandaries. These quandaries are the first one. The first one, why this tragedy had to happen. Now, in the world, when we look at mass destruction, I would categorize two kinds of mass destruction. One is man-made and the other are natural disasters. Now, in man-made destructions, the most obvious of these are wars. There is the enemy and the foe. There is the good side and the bad side. Of course, what is good and what is bad depends on which side of the fence you are on. It's all absolutely relative. But what happens if in a war, when there is a destruction, a bomb falls and innocent people die, the other side that dropped the bomb just brush it off and say, quote unquote, collateral damage. Right? It doesn't matter that these people were innocent, because they are in the community of the so-called enemy or the evil or the bad people. People can justify these kind of things. When natural disasters occur and we don't know where natural disaster is going to hit next, it does not discriminate the place nor the people there, whether it's saints or sinners, good people or bad people. It does not matter. Everyone is affected in one way or another. So when we look at natural disasters, it seems like it's cruel because there is no demarcation of good and evil. It just happens in a place. So these are very sad moments in life. So this is the proverbial why question. Why does this tragedy happen? The second question, or the second quandary, is what do we do to deserve such fury of nature? If you look at the internet, it's filled with as many opinions as there are people who post their thoughts. In this presentation, I'm going to present to you my perspective. First, I'm going to give you my quick answers to these two questions. To the first question, why this tragedy had to happen, my quick answer, or quick response is an obvious answer: because we live on planet Earth. To the second question, What do we do to deserve such fury of nature? My quick answer is, it is a little cryptic, and the answer is nothing. But don't we all deserve such events of nature? Allow me to explain myself through a narrative, for ultimately these perspectives are sourced from mystical points of view. There is a mystical perspective known as the mountaintop perspective. Quite simply, it is derived from the fact that from high vantage points, such as the summit of a mountain, the view is always majestic. Even the path up to the summit that is riddled with dangerous, life-threatening challenges look awesome from the summit. Imagine if we had seen the tsunami from such a point of view. From this perspective, where the trials of the people down on the street are invisible to the naked eye, the tsunami would look awesome. However, this perspective is not enough to quell the quandary, for it simply does not acknowledge the pain and suffering because it does not see it. A broader perspective is required, and this can be found in outer space and time. From outer space, Earth is a precious sanctuary of biological life. Compare Earth to the extremely inhospitable climate of space and the rest of the 8 planets in the solar system, and the wonder that is Earth becomes obvious. We must also take into account that Earth today is a product of billions of years of violent geological history. Compared to what science has discovered about its terrific past, our Earth today is placid and pleasant, even if it rattles our lives on occasion. Armed with this perspective of outer space and time, let's go back to the questions. Why this tragedy had to happen? And what do we do to deserve such fury of nature? We live in a planet whose ability to sustain life is based on balancing extreme conditions. Whether we accept that the perfect distance we are from the sun that allows water to exist in liquid form in most parts of Earth is a coincidence or divine design, it is just as important that our planet spins on its axis at the rate that it does. For our lives exist on Earth because of these and many other balancing acts of nature. We are of course directly impacted by this valuable duty of nature. For the most part, we take Earth's climate for granted. The bigger picture that we are living in this beautiful sanctuary of life easily escapes us. So comfortably do we succumb to the lullaby of Mother Earth that it seems cruel when she becomes a tempest on those rare occasions. However, these violent events of nature is important to all of us in some way or another, so that we can continue to enjoy those mainly wonderful placid days of living. Like parents who have to be stern with their children on occasions for some good reason, Mother Earth has to shake and rumble, spew molten rocks and ash, create storms of all variety on occasion to maintain her balance that makes our living possible. Perhaps global warming has a role to play in the recent spate of strong earthquakes, and this is just one way Earth is balancing out excess heat. Who is to question why Mother Earth does what she does? This is simply who she is. And it is for us to accept the inescapable fact that we live on planet Earth and we are of planet Earth. What do we do to deserve such fury of nature? Nothing. We all deserve this as part of living on Earth. If we can accept the mostly peaceful days of living that most of us 6 billion humans enjoy with regards to the weather, then we should also expect to endure some sort of trial that nature will offer. Not to test, nor deliberately be cruel to us, but to help maintain the equilibrium on Earth that we all cherish. If we have to go through some kind of natural disaster on those rare occasions, then our endurance counts as a sacrifice for the entire race of life on Earth. I believe because of this, we should refrain from judgments of any kind on the people who have to endure natural calamities, for their sacrifice is important to all life on earth. If anything, we owe a debt of deep gratitude to them. It should also remind us that when we plan our lives, we must be proactive in anticipating natural calamities in our area. No part of earth, ocean, or atmosphere is exempt from the docile and destructive forces of nature. Thus, part of living positively on earth is accepting the responsibility that we must prepare for possible eventualities.